Hi everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about Linux. Linux is an operating system, okay? And I'm not expecting you to be an expert out of this class and how to use it. I want you to know some of the essentials because it's extremely popular for programmers and it's going to allow us to go a little further with how we're writing programs to do a couple more sophisticated things and powerful things related to coding in C, which we're going to use as a way of kind of implementing small compiler and assembler using the C programming language. And so we're not trying to become experts. We're going to learn a little bit about how to navigate around and leverage this, and it's going to give us some additional capabilities that we have not learned previously. Right, so Linux, open source operating system. Operating systems, what they are, like Windows, DOS, Mac OS, right? What operating system does is it sits on top of the underlying hardware, right? So you got your computer's hardware, your memory, your processor, right? Any sort of hardware resources. The operating system sits between that and your other applications, right? So if you're running like Microsoft Word or a computer game or something, you're kind of a layer above the operating system. And when you need to leverage hardware resources, you're going through and the operating system is giving permission or giving you kind of delegating access to this underlying hardware, right? Now, it's an entire complicated subject in of itself to talk about operating systems. It's a great class to take later on. But it's not something we want to go too deep into here, okay? What I want you to be able to do, because I think a little bit of knowledge with Linux, just a little bit goes a real long way, and you can kind of pick up things that you need along the way kind of on your own, having some basic knowledge. What I care about at this point is that we can learn how to navigate the command line using Linux, okay? So a command line is a way of that we're gonna be able to compile programs that way. We're gonna be able to run programs. And one thing I'm particularly interested in is being able to send information into your programs via the command line and be able to get information out. We'll see some of that in follow-up videos. Okay. So and there'll also be a reference sheet to kind of help you remember some of these commands. So I just want to kind of show you some examples of this. You know, if we look at limit things down to these 6 commands, it does a lot in terms of us being able to use Linux and be able to head towards being able to compile our programs. Okay, so let's imagine I'm going to show examples of each one of these commands. But before I do that, I want us to think a little bit about if we look at a folder structure, right? So say you've got your computer, and you've got a whole bunch of different directories, these folders, and you have different files in different folders. Okay, here I've got Linux open up. Okay, and I can do things such as do a command pwd, gives me the present working directory, and this tells me which folder I'm currently in. Okay, which folder I'm currently in. Now this is similar to what we're seeing here, except I've got C/files, right? There's going to be, I'm on the C drive, and then in a directory called files. So it's giving me the folder or directory I'm currently in, okay? We can assume that, so if you think of C and then you just imagine adding the word files here, we're in that directory, okay? If I do ls, right, it gives me a listing of what is in that current directory. Okay, so if I do command ls, I can see that we have this folder bacon, right? We have this folder eggs, right? And we have this file spam.txt, bacon eggs spam.txt. Right, so ls gives me what's in that directory. Okay, similarly, if you opened up something in the File Explorer and you just looked in a folder, what's in that folder? Okay, if I do ls space .l, it gives me a longer listing. It gives me some information such as like how big the file is, when the last time it was edited. So it gives me a little bit of a more detailed information. Okay, where ls just gives me the names of the directories and the files that are in there. Okay, so if I'm in this bacon directory, like right now I'm not. Say I actually want to enter this bacon directory, right? We see it here, right? I can do cd space and type in the name of the directory. Bacon, hit enter. And now if I do pwd, I'm in this different directory. So now I'm here where it says current working directory. That's accurate now based on what I did on the command line here. I'm actually in this folder here. Okay. So we're getting used to being able to kind of wander around. And I think one of the things that's essential just to kind of get started with this is just being able to enter directories, find different files. Okay. So just being able to navigate through the command line. Okay. So if I wanted to go back, right, I'm here in this current working directory. If I wanted to go back one layer, okay, I do cd ... that goes to what's called the parent directory. Okay, it's back to the parent directory. Okay, that's similar. Okay. If we think about this, right, if I'm in this Explorer here, this File Explorer, if I'm in this Bacon directory, okay, what I just did by going cd ... is equivalent to coming back one layer. Okay, going back up one to the parent directory. Okay. So those are actually some of the most essential things right there. I can do a couple other things, right? If I wanted to view the spam text file, I could do something like less.spam.txt, right? And I can just view the file, what's in there. I have something called, like, inside that file just is some random stuff in this file, right? I could just look at what's in there. That tends to be helpful. And once I'm in this this text file, if I want to get out, I could do :Q to quit. So I just typed in :Q to quit. Colon allows me to type something. There's different commands you can do inside the text file. Q for quit. Okay, just a couple little additional things. If I want to delete a file, I could say RM for remove. Now that file's gone. If I want to make another directory, okay, I could do mkdir, create a new directory. Okay. So, you know, takes a little bit of practice, but just knowing a small number of commands goes a long way to being able to just navigate around the command line. And why we are doing this is that what we're going to do following up in this course is that we will actually can execute our C programs from the command line. And the main reason we're interested in doing that is it makes it easier to send information into the program as well as to get information back out. Okay, we'll see that later on to follow up on how to do that, how to compile it, how to send information in, send information out. We will also examine further, we'll learn more about how compilers work. By using the command line, we can use something called make files, which allows us to have a better understanding and better control of how we compile programs. So we will do that as well. Okay, but right now, right, I just want us to have a little bit of a basic knowledge on some of these essential commands. You don't have to memorize them, but just getting a sense of how they work so that when you are looking at some, like a reference sheet and some documentation, that it makes sense to you on how to use them to kind of just get to a certain directory and be able to just see what's in there so that we can basically navigate to a directory that has the program we want to run and be able to then go from there. Okay, so we'll follow up on this. It takes time and practice to get good at it, but it's really not so bad. And like I said before, a little bit of knowledge goes a real long way.